My name is Aaron. I'm 34, single, and well, I found out something about myself I wasn't supposed to. There's this group chat, and in it they basically said I'm the family ATM and have no life. That phrase. It just won't leave my brain. I can still picture the instant I saw it. I was at my desk after work, a leftover, cold coffee beside me when my phone blew up. It was a message from my Uncle Greg, a screenshot. He accidentally sent it, I think, meant for my mom. It was from a group chat called Famker, which I'd never heard of. There were my mom, Uncle Greg, my sister Tessa, and her husband, Nathan. No cousins, no kids, just the grown-ups. I'm guessing the conversation was already going when he sent it, and the last few messages were all about me and how lame I am. Nathan had written, "Does he seriously have nothing else going on?" "Just work, sleep, and Venmo," my sister responded with a laughing emoji. "And he loves feeling needed. Let him be our little sponsor." Then my mom jumped in, and that one hit me hard. "He's not doing anything else with his life. At least this way he contributes." Uncle Greg finished it off with, "Honestly, Aaron's basically the family wallet with no life." I think I just sat there for 5 minutes, completely frozen, not moving, not breathing, just feeling the weight of it all. These were the people I'd been busting my butt for, the ones I'd been helping out without them even knowing. My mom, who hadn't been paying full rent in like 3 years. My sister, she'd hit me up for loans at least 6 times. Car trouble, vet bills, even last-minute weekend trips, you name it. And Greg, that guy. He once pulled a favor for his daughter's college laptop. I let her borrow mine overnight, no questions asked. They all knew I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. I'd just say, sure, or don't worry, and get back to work. I've always had a pretty good job, software development at a medium-sized company. Not fancy, but steady. I'm a saver, I'm not a spender, and I never expected anything in return. I guess I just craved feeling important, like I was making a difference, and for a time I thought that was enough. But seeing that chat, man, it was like a light switch flicked on. I didn't reply to the screenshot. I didn't confront Greg or my mom or my sister. I just sat there feeling this awful creeping sense of betrayal and humiliation, like I was the punchline to some joke that had been going on forever. The next day, Tessa texted, "Hey, can you loan me $300 for this ski trip Nathan set up? We'll pay you back, promise." No sorry, no explanation, just business as usual. That's when the betrayal went from gut-wrenching to routine. Expected, I didn't even bother responding. An hour later, Mom texted, "Sweetheart, the landlord's giving me a hard time again. Could you send a little extra this month?" I just stared at my phone. It wasn't anger or sadness, really. More like a strange kind of calm, a sharp, dull awareness. It was like finally I could see the weak spot in this whole thing that had always been there. I didn't answer her either. That week, I just kept to myself. No calls, no cash. I needed to take a beat, process it all, and figure out how I'd ended up in this mess. Every single memory hit me like a ton of bricks. My 30th birthday when nobody showed up except my work friend, Jenna. Or when I told Tessa I was considering going back to school and she said, "You're too old for that. Just keep doing what you're good at, making money." I flashed back to a Christmas 3 years ago when I gave everyone Amazon gift cards with these cute little envelopes I made. Tessa chuckled and said, "Oh, Aaron, always the practical gift giver." And Mom chimed in, "It's sweet, but maybe next year do something a little more thoughtful." Meanwhile, I'd got a mug that said, "World's okayest brother." Before, I'd just blow it off, crack a joke at my own expense. "Haha, yeah, I'm the boring one," I'd probably say. But now it wasn't a quirky thing anymore, it was a pattern. It was like I was stuck playing a role I never even auditioned for. Friday came around and Uncle Greg called. I just let it go to voicemail. He left a message. "Hey man, just checking in. Not sure if you saw, but your mom's a little short on funds this month. Give me a call." Then a call from my mom. "Aaron, I need to know you're okay. I'm worried. Please text me." It's wild because the silence I gave them, the silence I usually filled with help, a shoulder to cry on, and cash, suddenly made them super uneasy. It was like they were lost without me constantly fixing their messes. So I spent the weekend giving my apartment a really, really thorough cleaning. I mean, way beyond just vacuuming and doing the dishes. I went through every single drawer and cupboard, tossing anything I didn't need. Stuff I kept out of a sense of duty. Presents I didn't like but felt too bad to get rid of. Old hand-me-downs from Mom, pictures that didn't mean anything to me anymore. Sunday I went for a long walk, just listening to music and letting my thoughts wander. The weather was beautiful, sunny and crisp, really peaceful. And that's when it hit me. Revenge wasn't what I wanted. Not right then, anyway. What I craved was clarity. I wanted to see what would happen if I just stopped playing the part they'd written for me, if I just walked away from the whole thing. Monday morning, I sent a single text to the family group chat, the one they still included me in, believe it or not. It just said, "Hey everyone, just letting you know I'm not paying anyone's bills anymore. You'll have to figure out something else." Tessa shot back almost instantly. Wait, what? Is this some kind of joke? Nathan chimed in next. Dude, seriously? The timing is awful. We already booked the airman for the ski trip. A minute later, Mom texted, Aaron, honey, are you okay? We need to talk about this. What's going on? Greg just sent a thumbs-up emoji. Let me know if you want to chat, it said. I didn't reply. I flipped my phone over, went to the kitchen, and made myself breakfast. By Thursday, the calls started rolling in. Mom called twice a day, leaving voicemails about misunderstandings and the need to talk things out. Tessa sent me a Venmo screenshot, $973, that's it, with a text saying, seriously, you're just gonna ditch us. They weren't sorry, not even a little. It was all about them being inconvenienced, I could tell. No apologies, zero self-reflection, just total freak out that their personal piggy bank was suddenly out of order. They didn't care about me, just what I gave them. Things blew up the next week. Greg texted, you're being a bit dramatic, don't you think? One stupid group chat joke and now this. Tessa called, and when I didn't pick up, left a voicemail. Started nice, then got real nasty real fast. You always act so high and mighty, she spat. We joke 'cause you act like you're better than us, like money makes you some kind of queen. I was sitting in my living room, lights low, staring out the window, listening to her voicemail. My heart didn't even skip a beat. I was strangely numb, letting her rage wash over me like a tepid shower. But something inside me had changed, and they hadn't seen the half of it yet. That weekend, there was a knock at my door. It was my mom. No text, no call. She just showed up, drove all the way from the next town over, wearing that worried mom look like it was still Halloween, and she hadn't noticed the costume was long past its prime. She had a little brown bag, banana bread inside. Her peace offering, like a loaf of bread, could erase years of quiet, sneaky taking advantage of me. Sweetheart, she said before I even got the door all the way open. Could we even talk right now? I just moved aside and let her in, didn't say a thing. She set that banana bread on the counter like it was supposed to fix everything, some kind of truce offering. She just stood there in my kitchen, twisting her hands, looking all around like she was trying to figure out how to start this conversation. I'm worried about you, she finally blurted out, and then sat down at the table like this was some big intervention. I leaned back against the counter, my arms crossed tight. Are you okay? She asked. I didn't answer. She let out this big sigh. Look, she started, I saw that message you sent, and I understand, I really do. Maybe we got a little too used to asking for help, but we're family. Families are supposed to help each other out. I just raised an eyebrow. That's what you call it, I asked. No, seriously, is that what you think this was? Leaning, because honestly it felt more like you all were piled up on my shoulders, laughing at how I was struggling under the weight. Her lips got thin, but she didn't argue. That screenshot Greg sent. It was taken out of context. I snorted. I read the whole conversation, Mom, Tessa laughing, Nathan saying he does nothing but Venmo me, you agreeing with how I contribute better this way. Were those out of context, too? She kind of stumbled over her words. You've always been so independent, honey. You never asked for anything. I thought you liked helping. And there it was, the big lie. Just because I never complained meant I was happy, like silence means yes. I liked feeling needed, I said softly. I didn't like being used. Her face turned bright red. We never— Yes, you did, I interrupted, my voice sharper. You used me, Mom, all of you, and the worst part, you didn't even try to hide it. You just figured I'd stick around, you know. Because I was always the dependable one, the person in the background of your lives, the one who paid all the bills while you celebrated your successes. She stared at the floor, blinking like crazy. We didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. Total silence. Then after what felt like forever, she asked, can we fix this? I don't want to lose you. And I'll be honest, for a split second, I almost caved. Almost. Until she added, maybe if you had just told us how you felt sooner, this wouldn't have happened. There it was, the switch from sorry to placing blame, faster than you could blink. I'd seen it a million times growing up. If Dad missed a school play or Greg forgot my birthday, they'd always twist it around so it was my fault. You should have reminded us. Why didn't you say something? We didn't know you cared. But I did tell you. I showed you 1,000 different ways every time I paid and didn't make a fuss. Every time I bit my tongue while Tessa called me boring or Nathan made fun of my lack of friends. Every time I showed up to things I wasn't even invited to. She looked like she was about to say something, but the words wouldn't come. I walked over, opened the door, and said, real quiet, I think it's best if we have some space. She didn't argue. She just stood there, nodded stiffly, and walked out. The banana bread sat on my counter untouched. That night I got an email from Greg. Let's be adults. The email was a whole bunch of fake niceness, but totally dripping with passive-aggressive guilt. It was full of stuff like, we're sorry you feel this way, and this family's been through so much. Then at the end, he hit me with a question. Are you really going to toss away all those years of being together because of a dumb joke? I didn't answer him. Instead, I got out a notebook and started writing down every single payment and transfer I'd made to them in the last 5 years. Things like rent, bills, vacations, vet stuff, and even a down payment for Tessa's car. It added up to just a little less than $47,000. I just looked at that number for a long time. That night, I couldn't sleep. But it wasn't because I was upset. It was because I felt something I hadn't felt in ages. It was like a light bulb went on. The mess of guilt and duty was disappearing. For the first time, I was seeing my family for who they actually were, not like some kind of villains. Nah, just people who had learned that love and relying on each other could be a business deal. As long as I didn't expect them to treat me any better, they wouldn't. But that was about to change. The next morning, I called my bank and looked over every single automatic payment, every regular transfer, and every monthly gift I'd been sending for years to help them out. I stopped them all. My mom's rent, stopped. Tessa's car payment that I was a secret co-signer on, gone. The credit card Greg had been using for emergencies, shut down. I finally shut down that old savings account, the one I called Family Float. It was a little stash, separate from my regular money just for helping them out. I moved every last penny out, changed the account's name to me first, and I truly meant it. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? That the quiet of no more cash would be enough to say something. But nope. The fallout was swift and it was intense. Tessa, of course, was the first to notice. She called me like 5 times in 2 hours. When I didn't pick up, she left a voicemail that started okay but ended up as a complete meltdown about how, my credit is ruined. And now the bank's calling. What am I even doing? There wasn't any guilt in her voice. It was just pure shock, like I'd betrayed them just by stepping out of a role I never asked for. Nathan texted soon after. "So you're making Tessa pay for something someone else did? Really classy." I didn't respond. Then Greg showed up. Turns out that emergency credit card he was using wasn't just for emergencies. He had a membership to a golf club, regular charges at a fancy steakhouse near his office, and get this, payments to a landscaping service at his lake house. Not even his main house, his second home. The guy who once sobbed to me about not being able to afford his daughter's tuition had been using my money to make sure his flowers looked good for summer cookouts. The text pinged on my phone and I saw it. Card declined. Seriously, they just shut it off. Couldn't they have, given me a heads up? I just stared at the message for a while, letting it all sink in. They all said the same thing, just with different words. No warning. No chance to prepare. They were really saying, you should have given us time to find someone else. The one that really got to me was from my mom. 2 days after we last talked face-to-face, she left a message. I still remember it perfectly. "Sweetheart, I didn't raise you to be this way. I know you're hurting, and maybe we could have shown our appreciation more. But this, the silent treatment, the money issues, you're hurting us all." Tess is in tears, Greg's livid, and me, "I don't know what to do. I need you to be the bigger person like you always are." She sounded genuine, worn out, vulnerable even. But not once did she apologize. Not once did she say I was right. Just, "I need you to fix this. Just do what you always do, pick up the pieces, silently, without a fuss." And for the first time ever, I didn't call back. It's weird how liberating silence can feel, It was like standing on a cliff and realizing the scary fall was actually just a little hop. The fear of letting them down, of being seen as selfish, suddenly felt like reading lines from a bad play. A tired performance with no applause, just more of the same obligations. So I changed the script. I took a chance on a little getaway. Just me, myself, and I, no need to explain myself to anyone. I booked a 2-week trip alone to a tiny cabin in Vermont. It was way out there in the woods, with a fireplace, no internet, and a view of the lake. I didn't tell a soul. I packed a small bag, put my phone on airplane mode, and let the sounds of the wind, the birds, and the crackling fire become my new normal, like a forgotten language I suddenly remembered. It was the first time in ages that no one could get a hold of me. No notifications, no feeling of guilt, no work stuff. For the first few days, I kept glancing around like I was doing something wrong. But by day 4, I started to relax. Then I got back to 37 unread texts and 9 voicemails from work. I'd taken PTO, so that was okay. But the rest, family, Tessa had made some vague Facebook post. You think you know someone, and then money turns them into someone else. Greg's wife messaged me on LinkedIn, of all places, asking if I could just try to patch things up with my uncle. It's causing drama for everyone, but the real punch to the gut. My mom sent me an email. She said, "Something you should see." Attached was a screenshot of a text exchange between her and Tessa. Tessa had said, "If Aaron won't help, I'm not paying for your rent either. I have my own bills. This is his problem." Mom wrote back, "I understand. I just don't know what to do anymore." Tessa replied, "He's punishing us. It's manipulative. Honestly, he's always thought he was better than everyone else." Mom said, "Maybe we pushed him too hard." That last text was 3 minutes older than her email. A little voice inside me started whispering doubts. Was this guilt? Was Mom finally seeing what she'd done? Maybe, just maybe, she was getting it. Then I hit the next part of her email. "I'm sorry you felt hurt," it said. "I'm not making excuses, but Aaron, we're still family. Don't let this mess change who you are. I miss my son." I just sat there staring. No real "I'm sorry I said those awful things." No, we were wrong to use you. Just, "Sorry you felt hurt." That fake apology, you know. The kind you give when you're not really sorry, just trying to get back what you lost control of. That's when it hit me they hadn't changed a bit. They were freaking out, totally panicking, seeing their whole world crumbling because I wasn't there to fix it for them. And they had no idea what I was up to because I hadn't just called a lawyer about closing some accounts. I'd asked him to look into something else, something big. Something that would blow everything wide open. I waited another week before I did anything. Part of me wanted to walk away, stay quiet, get my revenge just by being gone. No explanations, no big scene, just poof. But then I remembered something Dad said years ago before he died. We were on the porch, and he told me something I didn't get until now. "Listen, you can distance yourself from folks, but when they keep coming back, sometimes you gotta slam the door shut. Not just close it, but really lock it." So I did. That's another thing I had my lawyer check out. It was all the co-signed loans, those accounts in my name, all the stuff I'd secretly guaranteed for family. Because, you know, we help each other out. Turns out I was legally connected to way more than I even recalled. Tess's car still partly under my name. Greg's emergency credit card, set up with me as the main person because his credit wasn't great. Even my mom's apartment lease renewal. I'd signed as a guarantor after she lost her job. It wasn't just about the cash anymore. It was about being responsible for it. If any of them messed up, I was the one the debt collectors would come after. And yet, even after everything, I made it official. I canceled authorization, sent official letters, cleared the balances, and shut down the cards. I transferred Tess's car loan completely into her name, which she could only keep if she refinanced it. Surprise, she couldn't. I filed the paperwork to get my name off Mom's lease, which gave her 2 months to find someone else to co-sign or show she could pay it herself. I even filed a small claim against Uncle Greg for the charges he made beyond the card's intended use. Not to get money, I didn't expect a dime, but to make sure there was a public record, a clear paper trail. It was all very clinical, clean, and by the book, emotionless. And when the consequences finally hit, they hit hard. Tess's call was more like a shriek. "You're wrecking my life, Aaron. They're gonna take my car." I just let her go off, letting her get it all out. I didn't fight back even when she paused to catch her breath. I just calmly said, "You were laughing about me in that group chat, saying I was just a boring old wallet. Maybe this'll teach you to appreciate things." She hung up on me, then blocked my number that same night. Haven't heard a peep since. Then Greg hit me with a long, furious email. He went on and on about how I was becoming a real jerk, said I should be ashamed of myself, that a real man wouldn't drag family drama into court. I forwarded it to my lawyer, and that was that. After that, Mom showed up. No yelling, no tears, just Mom. It was pouring rain this time. She was soaked, but she had banana bread again, like some crazy ritual to turn back time. "I could lose the apartment, Aaron," she said the second I opened the door. "You know that, right?" I nodded. "Yeah, I know. You really won't sign again?" I shook my head. "I signed the first time because you were in a real bind. You're not anymore. You've had years." She put the banana bread down, her hands shaking. "I don't want to fight with you." "I'm not fighting, Mom. I'm done fighting. I just stopped pretending." Her lips started to tremble. "You're my son and you always will be." But I said, "I'm not your safety net, not your co-signer, not your fall guy anymore." We just stood there for a minute, not saying anything. Honestly, I almost wanted her to yell, say something awful, something I could fight against, but she just seemed so crushed. "You used to be kind," she finally said, barely audible. "I still am," I told her. "Just not to people who treat me like an ATM." She left without a peep. Weeks went by, then a month, and for the first time in ages, my phone was silent. No late-night frantic texts, no subtle guilt trips, no sudden problems that needed a quick cash transfer. Just calm. I started seeing a therapist, not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to figure out why I'd put up with it for so long. We talked about roles, family roles, how I'd always been the problem solver since I was little, the one who smoothed everything over, soaked up the drama, and made life easier for everyone else. It was a way to survive. But survival skills, when you don't need them anymore, become traps. So I freed myself. I joined a local running group, met people who didn't know me as the family bank, signed up for a pottery class of all things, and started volunteering at an animal shelter every week. I even started dating someone, Megan, who actually asked questions and listened when I answered, and never once hinted that my value was based on my finances. A few months later, I got a handwritten letter from my mom. It was short. She had to move. Smaller place, heart problems, she wrote, "I've been thinking about you a lot. I won't ask for anything, just wanted to say I understand now. You were always giving even when we didn't deserve it. I'm sorry. Love, Mom. Honestly, I didn't shed a tear, didn't even scramble to dial her number, didn't race to try and make things right. But I did crack a smile because that letter wasn't a plea for help. It was offering it, maybe for the very first time ever. And that meant something. Not enough to magically erase everything, but enough to keep the door open, at least for now. As for me, I'm still putting things back together. It's not just my finances, though. Yeah, they're way better than they've been in ages, but also my boundaries, who I am, and my peace of mind. I don't feel the need to rescue people who don't want to save themselves anymore. I don't have to get validation from those who just used me. And every morning when I wake up and don't see a bunch of calls from family wanting cash, I feel a little less weighed down, a little more free. Because sometimes the best payback isn't anger or drama. It's taking back your life and saying no to letting anyone else control it.